Hi, welcome to my guitar tutorial, A minor pentatonic, E minor pentatonic, 3-note melodic sequences, multiple scale fingerings. So I did, in the opening demonstration, I started off, just playing the exercises as written, and then I did a little bit with the jam track, and I just did a little bit of improvising, but not very much. So look below the description of the video for PDFs, and then I'll also link to the jam track that I'm using. So the jam track that I published a couple videos ago is a little bit different than this one here. Excuse me. So I'll just talk briefly about some of the things I did here. So right off the bat, I was using Blues Box, and I'm just doing a simple 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then starting from the E note, 1, 2, 3, and then starting from the A note. And then going ascending, then starting from the E, and then starting from the A. And then I did exactly the same thing with the E minor pentatonic. So nothing too fancy here. So once you kind of get these patterns under your fingers, then you can just try. I didn't do a lot of this in the beginning. Just some different rhythmic variations. So I think maybe I'll just do that a little bit. So I'm just going to take, and I'm just going to kind of mess with the rhythms a little bit, just to give you some idea. So the other thing I was doing, just kind of randomly, I wasn't always picking every single note. So sometimes I was using hammer pull-up. So that's up to your discretion what you do with these basic exercises. So a lot of times what I do in my videos is I just give you a very basic concept, and I point you in a direction and say, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And then you just have to use your imagination to come up with some things. So I'll take that first page of the PDF, and I'll just kind of mess with the rhythms a little bit. So you can kind of get an idea about that. So that really fast lick, you can just use the settings in YouTube to slow that down to see what I'm doing there. Okay, then the second page, that's just going right across the fretboard. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then coming back down. Right, so what I decided to do, because it's taken me probably a little bit over a week or so to kind of get these together. So I just thought that using that half eighth note rest, it just seemed like the phrasing worked out the best with these. And then here. some hammer-ons. And you'll notice a lot of times I use all downstrokes. I think when I put the jam track on, I was trying to using some really aggressive downstrokes and kind of palm muting a little bit. And then descending on the E minor. Kind of hitting kind of hard. Right now I'm playing through some Blackheart amps. They're on about 7, and then I have my Expandora on the original Expandora. I have it on the overdrive setting, which I kind of switched over. I used to use the distortion setting, so I'm doing more of an overdrive sound. I was kind of going something for a little bit rounder sound. So you can see it's not really breaking up that much. And then throwing in some different cliches. Okay, so let me see what I can do with this one here. When I think of this, I think of Jimmy Page, Good Times, Bad Times, and I don't remember that exactly, but that's the idea. Just these three note sequences. Okay, let's just kind of see what happens. I'm just going to kind of mess with this a little bit, just kind of see what comes out with the jam track. So once again, it's up to your imagination to sort of come up with some different ideas here. Okay, so then the next 2 pages of the PDF, I'm just taking sort of a standard pattern that I've described in a lot of my videos. If you go to the jam track, which I'll link below, you'll see I have a bunch of diagrams of diagonal sliding pattern. So I'm not going to go through that too much right now. That one, E minor, and then this one here. So these next 2 pages are just these 3-note diagrams starting on the root and 5th of the scale. So I could have done something with all the different patterns, which is kind of how this whole thing started. On the 5th page, with the 5 positions, I did kind of run up and down the fingerboard, and that just, as I was going through that just seemed like too much. So I thought the roots and the 5ths were the best ones to use. So I just go through that very quickly. Oh yeah, and also I have an expression I use: perfection is for amateurs when I do these videos. So if you look really, listen very closely, I made a lot of mistakes in that opening playing demonstration, but I just don't like to do more than one take, unless I really, really mess up a lot, which I did. But I just like to just kind of create the raw ideas and then let it be what it is, because I don't like to do a lot of editing. Okay, so the first one, the E. Oh, I got them backwards here. So A minor pentatonic. So the first one just starts up here, 1, 2, do, da, do, da, down to the A, and then start with the E, and then A, up to A, and down to A, and then E. Right, so that much, those first 2 lines, that kind of covers the jam track. And then what I did is I jumped over to this pattern, E minor pentatonic, on the next page, starting on the E note. When I was playing with the jam track, B note, E note, and then B note. And then ascending. So I'm starting on the E note here. So I'm going back to the A minor page, diagonal pattern. E to E, A to A. E to E, and then A to A. Okay, now going over to the E minor pentatonic, starting from B, E to E, B to B, and then E to E. Okay, then going back to the A minor, descending. This is starting from the E note, A to A, E to E, and then A to A. And then going back across descending, starting from the B note, E minor, E to E, B to B, and then E to E. And then the last two lines, ascending from A minor, okay, starting from E to E, A to A, and then E to E. And then one last one there. So E to E minor, starting from E, starting from B to B, E to E, and then B to B. Okay, so probably if I was working on this and practicing it on my own, I would probably just take like maybe one section and just kind of loop it over the jam track and just try to explore some different things. So maybe what I'll do here, maybe I'll just take the one that's starting from E, starting from the A, and then the one starting from E. So the first two two lines of each pen, yeah. and just kind of see what happens. I'll kind of riff around on it on those two patterns and just kind of jam around on it. So you can see there's a lot you can do with these, and I'm not going to sit here and just jam over these over and over again. I just trying to kind of inspire you to take a basic pattern 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, starting and ending on different notes of the scale, and see what you can come up with. Now this next page is the 5th page here. This is kind of how the whole thing started. I was doing these jumps. Right. So then if you want to kind of expand that, what would be interesting is maybe pick a bass note. Something like that. So then for the E, so I'm the first one on the E. Okay, so. And so on. So there's different things you can do. I started exploring that when I was getting this video together, but I decided that was going to really take me into all different kind of directions that I didn't really want to explore too much. Who did I just see was just doing something like this? I think maybe Jens Larson. He was talking about playing bass notes and then doing something off of that. So this is just another way of looking at it. So I'm just kind of working up the pentatonic scales. This is page 5. And I go up to the C note. So this is all A minor pentatonic out of the basic boxes. D. Then up to E. Then up to G. And then up to the A, back to the blues box. All right, so this is a very, very useful kind of exercise to do, because I think most of us, when we were first learning these patterns, we tend to just go up and down and do the whole thing at once. But the more and more you can kind of get inside the pattern and just kind of break it up into different pieces, then you'll have better mastery of it. Okay, so now I'm going to do the E minor pentatonic from E. And then G to G. No, so that kind of sounds like so the first one sounds more minor. Then the next one kind of sounds more major. Right, so I'm just throwing that out, just something to think about. Okay, so going to 7, this is the A. So the B. And then D, and then back to the blues box. Right. So once again, this was the first thing that I came up with when I was first getting all this stuff together. I was actually doing D, and I was doing different chords and just trying to come up with something, but that just got too cumbersome. So then I got into this thing with adding the 8th note and then keeping everything in 2 different keys. I'll just mess with this a little bit. I haven't really spent a lot of time on this particular strategy. See what I can come up with here with this jam track. Okay, so you get the idea of that. So that would just take a little bit more thought. But I think that idea of throwing in the low bass note is probably something that you might want to explore. Like for the A, Oh, I know what it was. Steve Vai. Yeah, that's right. Steve Vai was doing one of his songs, and he was talking about doing a bass note and then sometimes sustaining. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting one. Yeah, so I'm just going to digress here. So I have this kind of thing that I notice on the internet, and I'll say this to some of you young players: really make a distinction between who's a good player and who's a good teacher. So they're not necessarily the same thing. So some people are really good players, not very, very good teachers. I don't need to name any names. And some people are good teachers, not necessarily good players. Like I would put myself in that category. I think I have very good skills at teaching and breaking things down. I wouldn't consider myself a really exceptional player. Some guys can really do, like Steve Vai is a really good example of that guy. He's a great player, and boy, the way he broke that down was really, really, really well done. And there's other guys who I can think of who are just really Paul Gilbert. You watch some of his stuff. He's really, really good at explaining things. So that's just something to look for when you're on the internet and looking at these people. Try to make a distinction between who's just playing and just kind of showing off, and then who's really showing you something that you can apply to yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do. I already know how to play. I've been playing for years. I've taught hundreds and hundreds of lessons over my career, and I already know how to play. So I'm just trying to show you things that I've discovered, and maybe I'll show you something in a way that be like, oh yeah, that guy, Michael Dennis, yeah, he showed me something that I never really thought about before. So that's kind of my whole thing. So yes, so when you do these things, or whatever you want to do, whatever. Adding in the bass notes and then adding in some scales on top. Okay, let me just do one more thing here before I wrap up the video. So I'm a big proponent of the 3-note per string scales. I've done the super. This is kind of related to the super boxes. So that last page there is basically just like 3-note per string pentatonics. And it's a little bit shorter phrase. I think I remember Tuck Andrus from Tuck and Patty. I think at one point I remember reading something in a guitar magazine, or maybe it was one of his early videos before the internet, one of his DVDs, VHSs, where he talked about playing 3-note per string pentatonics. And then the next one. Right, so this one, because it has less notes, I can maybe apply a little bit more vibrato. And then the E minor, okay, I think on the video, I think I did them 2 times. So I'll do the A minor again. And the next one. Okay, now I'll go to the E minor one. And the next one up here. I'll do that one again. So this involves some stretching. So this is so you notice, like in situations like this, I like to have my guitar neck up a little bit, like sitting more classical position. And then the next one. Okay. So then you can do different kind of things with articulations. If you're doing those kind of double hammer, double pull out. Right. And then the other thing I did is I also took these and I moved them across to the next 2 strings. And I moved it to here. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So that takes a little bit of practice and getting your fingers stretched out to get that one. So then this one here for the E minor, that one's pretty easy to move across also, and so on. Okay, I'll just play with this one a little bit. Okay. So that's about all I have for you today. Have some things structured and then some things not so much structured. So I think I'll just end off today with a bass, just a ending improvisation. Trying to use some of these concepts. So maybe I'll play through the jam track, once or twice. Look below the video description. I'll give you a bunch of PDFs. I'll link to the jam track that you can play along with, and then you'll see other additional sort of raw diagrams of where a lot of this stuff is coming from. Okay, thanks for listening and watching, and have fun learning and exploring the pentatonics. It's still for how simple it is. I mean, Jimi Hendrix Machine Gun, okay? I mean, what else do I have to say? What did Jimi Hendrix play? Just watch Jimi Hendrix play Machine Gun, Band of Gypsies, and you'll see what can be done with pentatonic plus soul and plus musical genius. Okay, thanks for listening and watching.